subscribe. If you haven't done so already, please go over to our sponsor, Sally's Artwork. Order yourself some designs to hang up on your walls. Me and Lee have put our orders in, so they will be coming very soon, and they'll be on display for you. She can personalise any Arsenal artwork for you. So please go and check Sally's Artwork on Facebook and Instagram. I am delighted to welcome our first guest of this evening, friend of the show and friend of both me and Lee's, Amanda Princess Guna. Amanda, how the devil are you?
I'm good. Oh my God, a big screen. I'm good. How are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Look at your bonnet. Looking good, Lee. Dan, sorry, Lee.
That's, I know. We both look the same now, don't we? I've got a little bit.
The Mitchell brothers.
Yeah, that's it. I've got a little bit Wayne Rooney, as someone said in the chat.
Yeah, how are you both?
All good. All good. All good.
Finally, I'm on.
Finally.
Yeah. So exciting.
What are you making of Arsenal at the moment? Should we be disappointed with that result yesterday, or do you think it's, not a bad point to go in? I'm sitting on the fence on this one. I'll be honest. I think it was. I don't know how to make it. I see positives yesterday, but I see a lot of negatives. How do you feel about it?
Right. Okay. So before the game, I predicted a draw and I literally got lambasted for it. Honestly, I really did. Loads of people going, what do you mean a draw? We should be beating Brighton. I think people do not realise where we are as a club at the moment. Oh my God, the whole screen. I feel that this time last year or even the year before, we would have lost that game. We would have lost it. So I'm trying to look at the positives with the defence for sure, because that's one of the most important parts he had to rectify, because we were awful in defence and I'm really happy with the back four. Unfortunately, and it's weird me saying this because I don't really want him at our club, Xhaka was really missed yesterday and I think we could really see that. He played phenomenal against Spurs. Ramsdale, I think people need to understand something. Do not judge a player until he puts a shirt on and crosses that white line for your club, because the amount of abuse that player got before he even picked up his goalkeeping gloves was ridiculous. But look, I'm old school, aren't I? I'm over 50 and I've been there since the 70s. So for me, I would never criticise a player and I'd never go mental about a player. I remember when we signed Ozil and I was like, this is amazing and what a player to come to our club. But he wasn't what we needed at the time. And I was a bit like, oh, it's not what we need, but he's a phenomenal, player. So I looked at Ramsdale and one of my City mates messaged me and went, what the hell have you signed now? He's atrocious. I went, hold on. Mikel must have seen something. He's not an idiot. So now I think people realise, and I never obviously criticised him, he saved us yesterday. Absolutely. With that one-handed save that was so Seaman-esque. Listen, disappointed. Absolutely, because I'd like to have had 3 points, carried on the momentum from Spurs. And sorry, Lee, I disagree with you. And this is what really annoys me about certain people. And I had this a lot this week from Tottenham fans. They said, oh, we were shit. I said, no, we were good. We made you shit. We came out and we went for that goal. I could not believe what I was seeing that first half. I know you've obviously discussed it this week. Now, this is a different game. Saturday night at Brighton, who are no pushovers. This is the thing. They were like 4th or 5th in league. If they'd have beaten us, they'd have gone second. So what divine right do we have to go there and think, we've got a point on listen, the wet, windy rain, I saw what all the fans were sitting in. I saw what the players were playing in and we weren't on it and we got a point. So I do come from the positive side. I think you both know that. I do try and look for the positives. I do feel Mikel is trying to build his own team. Who would have ever known, Lee and Dan, that the minute Aubameyang signed his contract, he would have been absolutely terrible? We were begging him to sign his contract, begging him. And he was terrible yesterday, absolutely terrible.
Do you not think, though, Amanda, as well? And do you know what? I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, to be fair, in relation to kind of having no divine right to take 3 points off anybody. And I totally agree with that. But do you not think that it's more about, forget what the score was, more about the performance of the team, lackluster, no real chances created, not really a style of football yet. And then Aubameyang, I'll let you come in on that as well, because obviously I said to Lee just before you come on about how many managers have managed to get him scoring goals. Do you think that it's Aubameyang's now no longer good, or do you think that he's just not fitting into the way of this style of play that Arteta's trying to implement?
Do you know what, Dan? I don't know. I haven't got the answer because I'm as shocked as anyone. Honestly, when he signed his contract, I was beside myself. Fantastic. And then from the next week, he couldn't hit a barn door. So I don't know. And and I've always said this, and me and Casey have said it for years. If that manager picks that team and chooses the tactics, they have got to, when that cross that white line, they've got to perform it. Did they perform it last night? No, they didn't. They really didn't. The defence were okay. But Brighton came at us. The thing is, when teams know that we're not absolutely brilliant at the moment, okay? What we saw against Spurs was absolutely phenomenal. Did any of us expect that first half, how we played? It was amazing.
Oh, it's fairy tale, yeah.
It was incredible. And actually to be there was just incredible, the atmosphere and everything. Now, you are not going to win every game. We are not where we were 15 years ago. I think some supporters need to get a little bit, what's that? I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. To understand we're not going to win we're going to lose. We're absolutely going to lose. We're going to draw and we are going to win. But we're not going to win every game. So the reason I predicted a draw last night is I looked at everything and I thought, I know Arsenal. We're not very good in the wind and the rain. We're not very good when people are at us. And I knew Brighton were going to do it. Exactly what Brentford did. But we got a point. So I'm hanging on to the fact that Ramsdale saved us, that the defence are looking good and that we got a clean sheet.
Yeah, fair play. Before I let Lee come back in with a question, I want to ask you, the title of this show is, are we seeing progress? Do you think that we are seeing progress under Mikel Arteta and this team now that is now his?
Yeah. So in defence, 100% yes. Absolutely. Midfield, yes. If we could have kept Xhaka fit with Partey, up front is where the problem is. Okay. Ødegaard, who was phenomenal against Spurs, was completely not on it yesterday. Yeah. You've got Saka and ESR, who very rarely let us down. As much as I feel it really hard to even criticise either of them, they very rarely let us down. And then you've got Aubameyang. Now, there is the argument, is he getting the service? Is he getting the balls? I've seen him in front of goal miss. And he's like an average striker, just average. It's not like the Aubameyang we know. So does he fit with Arteta? And all this nonsense about Arteta's lost the dressing room. Let me tell you, anyone that watched the Spurs game, no, he hasn't lost the dressing room. And he was absolute. You can call me deluded. I can see the comments. You can call me deluded or whatever you want to call me. That is totally my opinion. We would have lost that game last year. So we are seeing progress in defence and midfield. It's the attack. He even came out and said we deserve nothing more than a point.
Well, I think to be honest, I like that's the first interview for a long while that I liked because he was honest. He was honest with that, I don't agree with this thing now, Amanda, saying we'd have lost that game last year because we won there last year. You know what I mean?
No, in that situation, Lee, nil, they're coming at us. We're not on our game. Oh, we would have lost. God,
yeah, and I think that's where the defence has improved. And when people turn around and say, "Are we improving?" I'm totally with you on this. Defensively, we have improved. The reason we've improved defensively is because we've got better players in defence. Because
he bought them.
Yeah, because we've got new ones in there. So in the defence, and I think that it's been needed. Gabriel's been is a massive plus for us. But I'll tell you what was a good performance yesterday, and people probably won't realise it or say it. Tommy Hassel was absolutely under the cosh in that first half. He was right. He was getting a seeing to in defending terms. But in the second half, he turned it around. He went back to the basics of defending and just defended. And I like that. That showed me of something that he's not going to. I'm not going to carry on doing what I'm doing because it's not working. So I'm going to change my game a little bit and make sure that I at least do not lose this battle. And I think in the first half he was. In the second half he evened out the battle, and I think that's a good sign. That was a very, very good sign. Defensively, you've got Gabriel and Ben White. They look very good. Listen, Tierney didn't have a great game, but ultimately that defence will do us well. What we've got to do is sort out going forward and all that. And people keep going to me, oh yeah, Smith Rowe and Saka are great, which they are, right? But they're part of the problem because the front four, particularly away from home, is not clicking. Now, it clicked against Spurs. The reason it clicked against Spurs is because they emptied out midfield. It was highlighted on Sky Sports. Why they done that, I don't know. And what happened was that if Brighton would have done that, Odegaard would have had all the space. Odegaard couldn't get free yesterday. Couldn't get in there. So you have to look at other ways of doing it. And I think Saka and Smith Rowe, the problem we had yesterday is how do you get them from in our own half defending up the field? Well, the only way you get the ball is to get the ball and it has to stick, right? So then the front player holds the ball up. That allows the midfield and forward players to get forward. The fact of the matter is, as soon as it went up front, it kept coming back. So they couldn't get no platform. Now, this is the problem when you play Aubameyang there. And I look at the game yesterday, and with Aubameyang, he done everything you wanted him to do against Spurs and more. He didn't do it yesterday, and that was the problem. So the big problem with me with Mikel is it's not working. And I think it's I think if you look at that game yesterday, you go, right, big three central defenders, and my God, they're big. You won't want to play up against them and hold the ball up and things like that. It's very hard for him to actually say, right, horses for courses, I'm dropping Aubameyang after his performance against Spurs. He couldn't do it. But what he could have done was said, like, this ain't working. I need to bring it. And he brought him on far too. And I'll tell you what, once we brought on Lacazette, we got a little bit of a platform in that game for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then we tired. So that is my big worry. That forward has got to be pivotal for our midfield players going forward, and that is the worry for me.
But can we just not look at the fact that we might have been off our game a little bit and Brighton actually played well and they actually deserved to win it? If they had their shooting boots on, they could have won it 4 or 5-0.
No, listen, they've been like that last season. The reason that they were down there last season because they didn't take their chances. I just think I get what you're saying, but we've had enough off perform. We've had 7 games and we've had about 4 off games now in 7. You know what I mean? Like that ain't good enough. 2
of those were City and Chelsea, Lee. Not many teams are going to beat them. I was at the Etihad. We were brilliant for 6.5 minutes. No, I'm not joking. I
take that on board. You forget about them 2 games.
You watch Liverpool City today. We're in a different league, different league. And I think that's why we want to be good league. Look, we do. We want to win everything. We want to win the Premier League game. We want to do that. But and Dan knows that it's going to take a long time to transition. It is. And if people aren't satisfied yet, Mikel will be out and we get another one in. And it'll be the same merry-go-round again. We have to stick with someone. I personally think, and I know there's not a lot of many people out there that do, I think Mikel can do it. I do. I really, really do. But
I'm not convinced. I
know you're not. And time will tell.
I look at Everton. They've got a new manager in. I look at Everton. Within months, they look a different side. There's something going on with them. I see with Arsenal just 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and I just don't see. I don't know if it is the manager or it is the players. I don't know. But what I expected yesterday, after that game against Spurs, I don't say I'm expecting Arsenal to win the game or whatever. I expected us to put in a better performance than that yesterday, like individually and as a team. It didn't happen, and that's my big worry. We haven't got that consistency in the game. But in saying that, and I take your point on board there, we have that consistency with the back 4. People are mentioning Vieira. Vieira's doing a fantastic job at Palace, by the way. You know what I mean? Whether that's putting pressure on Mikel, I don't know. But I just think that I also think this with Mikel, and I'm going to stick up for him here. When he first come into the team, he had COVID. He had
no pre-season.
It was a difficult time for him to come in. So from where I think Vieira's got an instant impact, and probably, as we just said, like Everton under Benitez they had, I think it was a little bit harder for Mikel. But I do feel now that there should be more improvement than what I'm seeing in this side. And I do worry about the fact that Martinelli is just not getting any minutes whatsoever. That is a big concern.
I know. I was thinking that the other day, actually. I don't really know what's going on there. He either doesn't rate him or he's got an attitude problem. I don't know, because it would be good to see it. We need him. That's the thing. I mean, the good thing about Mikel is he did sub Aubameyang yesterday for Lacazette. So that is a good thing that he will do that. I don't know. You know what, Lee? It's hard because I think...
I thought that was quite a late start.
65 minutes, didn't he? Or was that the first sub he did?
It was like
Pepe
68,
after
69, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think
it was quite late, but you know.
But Dan, I've always argued this because do you remember Wenger did it on 69 minutes every single day, every single game he did 69 minutes. And I spoke to a coach at a club once, and I said, "What the hell? Why would you not change it at 43 minutes if it's not working?" And they said they have their game plan, and it's always up to around 60 minutes. And if it doesn't work, that's when they change it. And remember, Emery didn't do that. Do you remember Emery changed players, and we were like, "This is brilliant." But that didn't work either. I don't know. Listen, we all.
Why is it, man? Just sorry. Why is it that you? Because obviously you said you think Mikel can do it. You really do. So convince me and Lee why. What has he done so far to say? Trust me, I know it ain't going well, but for these 20 months, I've seen enough to say this guy's the man.
Okay, so what Lee said before, Dan, he came in with no pre-season and COVID. Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to do it and make us wonderful again, but I think he's got a really good chance of doing it. The most important thing that we had to do was shore that defence up. He's starting to do that. We can all see that. 1-0 to the Arsenal, 1-0 to the Arsenal. We beat Spurs. We didn't lose to Brighton. It does seem that a lot of your listeners seem to think we've lost. I don't know if it's a younger age thing or not, because I've been through the good and the bad and the good and the bad, and you will all go through it. I just think we're getting there. It's going to be slow. And if people don't have patience, they're going to want him out. And there has been a lot of flip-floppers, Dan. There's a lot of people that wanted Arteta out. And after Spurs, they were like, yeah, brilliant. I've never been like that. You know, I was one of the very last ones that wanted Emery out. I thought he was doing a really good job, but I wanted him to stay. But I am, honestly, I'm in the camp of we've got to give him time. I think he's... Listen, he brought Tomiyasu. I can't even say his name. Tomiyasu in. Yeah, right, you know, everyone went, "Who's that?" Ramsdale. You know, he is trying. He's got a fantastic core of ESR and Saka. Hopefully Martinelli. You know, Erdogan, I'm so pleased he signed for us. He had an off game. They all do. Everyone does at clubs. They all do. Yeah. So, but people have to understand we're not. If you watch the game today between Liverpool and City, it was phenomenal. That second half was just amazing. We're not in that league. If you accept that, then give Mikel a chance. Listen, you do what you want. You're a supporter. Don't matter whether you go to the game or not. If you don't want Mikel in, that's totally up to you. But we need to support him now. I'll tell you something, we've got a few tough games coming up. And Lee's right, we go to Anfield next month. It's going to be tough. We've got to get behind the team and him. He is our manager at the moment. So I just think the defence he has shored up. Now he's got to look at attack. He really has got to look at that. We're not scoring enough goals.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not.
That is a problem. We're not creating, and we're not scoring, and we're not. And sometimes I'm going to have to say this. That's not all down on the manager because missing chances is. But we're not really creating too many at this moment in time. And I don't know. When I look at that, and I look at that team of a play like Aubameyang, Lacazette, or whoever you want to put up there, you know, Smith Rowe and Saka, they're fantastic young players. And also, you know, Odegaard. I do think that we should be getting a little bit more out of these guys than what we're getting. You know,
but Lee, if he picks, how could he drop Aubameyang after what he did against Spurs? He's not doing it game after game. I think Aubameyang is the problem. And I don't know what...
I think it is a problem. So what I said earlier on, I do think that is a problem.
Honestly, last year when I was on the pod, I used to say to Kev, you got to drop him. You know, you can't keep playing him. And Kev's argument is, being a striker, obviously you've got to play him into good form. But we never got into good form, did we? Then this season, it's been okay-ish, not too bad. And then he comes against Spurs and we're like, well, Aubameyang's back. Aubameyang's back. We all said it. And then yesterday, you're like, did he really want to play?
I agree. I think, you know, he should have 5 games, and that's why I don't think that he should be dropped at this moment in time. In those 5 games now, he's had one good game, Amanda. That was against Tottenham.
I agree.
The rest of them, even though, you know, he hasn't been there. So I do think that Mikel has got to look to address that at some sort of stage. I don't know who with, but has he got to address him, Lee, or address the fact that he doesn't get the service sometimes? Well, I think there's. Should he be on the wing? Should he be down the front? You know, it's hard. And I think this is why he needs time, Mikel. The problem is fans don't give that time because we want it instant.
We want it instant. We beat Spurs and all of a sudden we're climbing a little bit. Now we've gone down to, I think we're 11th. We're only in October. Listen, I think a lot by the end of this season, if we haven't progressed, if we're 8th and 9th, he won't be there, will he?
Well, I don't think he will be, and I don't think he should be. Honestly, I really don't. I don't think we can get to a stage where we're in like the bottom half of the table, 12 points off of the top 4, and we're in like sort of end of November. We've got to make a change. We can't ruin another season. So, 20 months is a good time for me. Look at some of the other managers that have had less time than that and have straight away.
But Dan, 20 months of a normal life. None of us have had a normal life for 20 months. He's come into a club that was on the decline. Wenger left, and I mean, I could go on about this, but I won't. Wenger left us in a terrible state. I don't know if I can swear on here. A terrible state. And then we've got Emery, and oh my God, honestly, give him 20 months of a normal life, of our normal life. Yeah. I'm sorry. You know how I feel, Dan.
I think.
Oh no! Listen, I know we're on the opposite. Go on, Lee.
No, just the one thing we've got to say. Look, I'm trying to bring it, a positive thing here. International break to this international break, 3 league wins and a draw. It's not doom and gloom. You know what I mean? We've won 3 out of 4 games and we've not lost, so we're unbeaten in that. What we've got to do is go to the next batch of games and do exactly the same. If we can go and win 3 and draw 1 in that batch, then we're not going to be where we want to be, but we're not going to be far off of it. I think we're 4 points off of top 4 at the moment. So you at this moment in time, it's not all. That was a good little bunch of wins and a draw. The one thing that worries me is the performances have not been good enough. He's got to improve the performances, but ultimately he's. At this moment in time, I'm gonna be honest. I'm taking that. I'm taking that. That was decent enough for us. I think at the end of the day to move on to the next batch. Which we've got. It's no good going to the next batch and losing. If we lose the next 2 home games, then then we're in a bad shape. We've now got to go and win those 2 home games. By the way, Villa and Crystal Palace first. Are massive games now. The fans have got to be on side, get behind it, and go from there. We must win those 2 games before going to Leicester, and then we'll see where we are come the end of October.
So I know Dan's feelings on Arteta because we've had many conversations about it. How would you feel, Dan, by the end of the season? Say we end up top 5, he's progressed us. Say we win the FA Cup or the League Cup, whatever we win, something. How are you going to feel, Dan? Because I know you're very anti and you don't want him. I know you want him out. That's fine. And you've always said that and you've always stood by that. How would you feel?
Well, 2 things you've said, which I'll come back to. One, we've shown progress, you said, and that's what I want. So, of course, I'll be happy. And how will I feel if he wins something? I'll be ecstatic because I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't feel like this manager is taking us to the right place. I might be wrong, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm hoping I'm bloody wrong, if I'm honest, because it means that if we're winning stuff, then that's all what we were supporting the club for, isn't it?
Of course.
My only question marks have been for a long time now, are we showing progress under this manager? And I know that there's been things that haven't gone his way, but I look at Graham Potter, he's not been at Brighton very long. They're playing fantastic. He's turned the club around. David Moyes at West Ham, outstanding. Dean Smith at Villa. I look at Rafa Benitez, only a few months in the job at Everton. Thomas Tuchel took the side that was 9th in the league up to the Champions League when it get to an FA Cup final and into the top 4. So I see all their managers showing progress. We're still stuck in the mid-table. So, of course, I have question marks. I'm not one of these guys who wants us to lose football games so that Arteta gets sacked.
No, I know you're not. But there are many that do, which I can't believe.
Trust me, there are. Yeah, trust me, there are.
Ridiculous.
Many that do. It is ridiculous. They're not Arsenal fans if you want to lose games of football, if you support the club. It's absolute madness. We did have a super chat before we let you go, PG. Are you all right to answer this one? It's from
go on.
Raj Gandhi saying, I'm with PG. Which top 10 team depends upon a 19-year-old and a 20-year-old inside forwards to get goals?
Exactly. It's the toughest bit, isn't it? It is the attack with us at the moment. We're going forward, creating the chances. He's got to put them away, Aubameyang. He is our captain. He's on God knows how much money per week. He's parading around in his cars. He's always on social media. Now put your money where your mouth is and just get on and do the football. I'd rather not see him on social media. I know he's a family man. I know I just don't know what's changed. It's not Arteta. He wouldn't have signed, would he? He could have gone anywhere. He was absolutely phenomenal at the time. So I don't know, but I don't know any teams. I mean, you look at Chelsea when they came to us a few weeks ago, they didn't even get out of first gear and they beat us easily. It was embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. The manager and the players have to take responsibility for this. I just think if we get another manager in, is it going to be the same old thing? Because I'm like you, Dan. If I'm wrong, then I'll be wrong. And he isn't the right man for the job. And the next manager that comes in, I'll support him again and let's see what he can do. I just want it to work for Arteta because I sit opposite him at the Emirates. I can sit, he's up the whole time. The whole time he is shouting and screaming at different players all the time. The passion he feels for the club. You saw it against Spurs. Absolutely. His job's on the line every game. I think he's under pressure all the time. So let's just hope. Let's just hope we can win. If we lose to Villa and Palace, again, we'll all start be thinking about bloody relegation again. It's just, it was so great against Spurs, wasn't it? It was so great.
It was great, of course. No, it was great.
It would have been nice to. We didn't lose. Everyone needs to understand we didn't lose.
That's a point that's got to be made. I agree. Like, you know what I mean? It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom at the moment. We just come off the back of 3 wins, one against our biggest rivals. I don't care if they were crap or whatever. Like, you know, that's still
they were. We were good.
And we was good, exactly. You know what I mean?
And do you know, Lee? Do you know what? Sorry to interrupt you because I just remember this. You know what really upsets me is when commentators often say, well, if they don't win today, then Sunday meant nothing. Nothing? Are they mental?
No,
Sunday meant
it always means
everything.
Something. Yeah.
Just because you don't win the next game, it doesn't mean that doesn't mean anything. Wound me up, that did.
I totally agree. That was important. Listen, at the end of the day, Arsenal turned up and performed, Spurs didn't. And that's not Arsenal's problem. Let them deal with that. You know, they're giving it today that they're top of us, you know. Like, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have beaten them 3-1 and be 2 points behind. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, like last week, they were all saying they weren't interested. They was watching the golf. All of a sudden, they're back. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't care what they say. We're giving them a good smacking, and I'm grateful for the players to do that. Like, you know what I mean? So it ain't all doom and gloom. Let's put it that way.
That's the thing. There's a tiny little bit of hope, isn't there? We need to build on it. We need to start putting in the performances. I do agree with you, Lee, on that. We do need we need Tottenham performances a little bit more.
Yeah. You know, and let's hope we get them.
Let's hope we get them. Amanda, absolute pleasure having you on. Great to see you.
I have to have you on again, Amanda. A bit more time next time.
Blimey. I'm going to come back. That's lovely.
You can come back after that. Very, very good. Like, stated your case tremendously well.
Thank you.
Amanda, before you go, how can everyone follow you on social media, mate, and what you're going to be up to?
They can't know. Right. At Goonagirl1969 on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I do the Facebook, the lot. Basically, my whole tweets are about sarcasm and Arsenal. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. As everyone knows, that I left the Highbury squad 5 months ago. I've had lots of little offers and I've enjoyed being guests on shows. Just watch this space. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I really enjoyed tonight. Thank you, boys.
No, brilliant. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Always welcome, Amanda. We'll speak to you soon.